Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And, well, as you can see from our little mix-up there at the beginning of the program, for those of you who are actually watching the program, well, you could just say that I'm just kind of, how shall I put it? Maybe I'm just a little too drunk from winning, right? Maybe I'm just winning a little too much. Or maybe, just maybe, it might have something to do with Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos, yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a dream.
That's right, folks. It is like a dream. We are here on Taco Tuesday. Enjoy. We are partying, and let me tell you something. There is no party if you don't have tacos. Okay, there can be a party without tacos, but you can have a party with just tacos. Just saying. I mean, who does not enjoy tacos? Anybody? Anybody out there? Note in the comments if you are one of those people who don't like tacos, because I personally happen to love tacos. But anyway, Mike is not able to be here today. He is out doing his civic duty, doing his thing. So we appreciate you, Mike. We appreciate you out there working and helping take care of America's youths. In any case. I'm here today. You're here today. We're looking forward to your comments. Just go ahead. If you're watching us live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, go ahead and comment. And if you do, we'll go ahead and if we find it to be interesting, or in this case, if I find it to be interesting, hey, I'll go ahead and I'll share it with the audience. And once again, as I always like to say, I don't have to agree with you. I may mock you if I don't agree with you, but that's okay, right? It's all in good fun. We're all here. We're all having a good time. We would very much appreciate you joining us on the program. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the business of the program. And you know how business starts, right? That's right. We start all businesses by paying the bills. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start off by giving a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with Hitman Industries. You can find them online at hitmanindustries.net. If you own if you own a rifle and you're looking to rebarrel it, trust me, if you already have an AR and you bought one recently, you probably already have one of their barrels. So go to hitmanindustries.net to check out the barrel so you can either rebarrel your current rifle or maybe you can do a brand new build. But they are the place to start. Once again, hitmanindustries.net. If you are a first responder and have never purchased from them before, then you can get a discount. So check them out today. Once again, hitmanindustries.net. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all level of government. California, by the way, is still counting ballots. So we have done an excellent job of getting some good conservative leaders elected to Congress in California, helping us to maintain the leadership, the majority leadership that we have in the House of Representatives. So anyway, go to cragop.org and check them out today. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. So check them out today. Once again, cragop.org. And then you've got Hog Holsters, the best in concealed carry tactical holsters on the market. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, just like it is up there. And you're going to get a discount on your Hog Holster on us. So check them out today, hogholsters.com. And then finally, if you're looking for outdoor gear, if you're looking for cold weather or hot weather gear, in some places I guess it's still hot. If you're looking for cold weather gear, wet weather gear, you name it, they have all things tactical except the gun at uscombatgear.com. They are veteran owned and operated. They have a huge selection. They have competitive prices and fast shipping. Once again, check them out today, uscombatgear.com. Well, you know, if you've been paying any attention, you know that the Trump train is a rolling down the tracks and there is little to no hesitation. As was announced at the end of last week, he had already started to talk about some of his appointments. First and foremost, he started off by appointing the very first female chief of staff. And I thought that was a really big one. Susie Wiles. Now, Susie Wiles spent the last 2 years basically running Trump's campaign. She has been the one. And what's neat about Susie Wiles is that, first of all, she has Trump's ear. She's one of the few people that can actually just stand up to Trump. I mean, when I say stand up, I mean, normally you kind of hedge your bets, and she's like, no, look, this is what needs to happen, and he listens. So you got guys like, you got guys out there saying that, Mark Cuban saying that he doesn't listen to strong women or doesn't surround himself with strong women. Well, guess what? His chief of staff is a very strong woman. But that was the very beginning of his. And by the way, what's neat about her is not only is she strong and have the trust of Donald Trump, but she is also very well known and very well respected in the Republican establishment. So a lot of the folks that you're going to see here, these people that he is selecting, these are not backbenchers. These are A-list folks that Trump is picking to serve in his cabinet. Let's go down the list here. The Hill actually broke down a list of some of the folks that he's looking at picking, or that he is saying he is going to have. One of the big ones, Marco Rubio. They want to pick him for Secretary of State. Marco Rubio is he's very, very tough on China, very tough on Iran. How I want to put this, he is currently on the Senate Intelligence Committee. So all the stuff that they need to know so that, in order to keep us safe, dude knows that stuff. He knows it really well. In fact, if you want to get an idea of just how hawkish he is when it comes to some of this stuff, this is what happened when a pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas protester decided to try and corner him outside of his office. Someone caught it on camera, and let's just say I very much enjoyed his response here.
Senator Rubio, will you call for ceasefire?
No, I will not. On the contrary.
Rubio,
are you filming it?
Wait,
I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. So Hamas should stop building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's horrifying. I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post.
See, now, you notice what I appreciated was he did a very good job of addressing what the actual problem is. Even when she was like, well, you don't care about the children dying? Of course I care about the children dying, and Hamas is to blame. Because they are. And that's the sort of stuff that you're not seeing. That's the sort of stuff that you're not hearing in the mainstream media. Everyone wants to blame Israel, but he knows where the real problems are. He knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows what's going on with China. And what's great about it is the Secretary of State, he's going to be doing a lot of interviews, not just with American media, but with foreign media. They're going to work to be putting him on the spot. He's going to be the face of America abroad. And I'll tell you what, he's going to do a very, very good job of communicating Trump policies, which, let's just be real, it's not that hard. It's called peace through strength, right? That's going to be the policy that Trump is going to be pushing, and the face of that abroad is going to be none other than Marco Rubio. And by the way, that goes to show that Donald Trump can move on beyond having a beef with somebody. If you might remember, Marco Rubio ran against him in 2000 when he ran in 2016. They had their beefs. But he was one of the first people to come out and endorse Donald Trump. And now you see him out there once again being strong for America and really put in a place where there may be policy areas where him and Donald Trump disagree. This is not one of them, right? Foreign policy is not one of them. So he's going to be a strong advocate for Trump's policies, which, by the way, I'm calling them Trump's policies because Trump's the one that's leading the way, but these are pro-America policies. These are the sorts of policies that people who are pro-America believe in. All right, next up we have Mr. Lee Zeldin. Now, Lee Zeldin, he's going to be heading up the EPA. He's a Republican, once again a Republican. He's the former New York congressman, and he was the gubernatorial candidate that, quite frankly, just barely lost to Kathy Hochul in the very, very blue state of New York. He's a young guy. I think he's like 44. He's one of the people who's probably likely to be the future of the Republican Party. And one of the things I think you're going to see here is, once again, someone who understands that, okay, no, we're not going to ignore the environment, but we're not going to destroy the American economy in order to reduce carbon emissions 0.00001.2%, right? He's someone who's also going to say we're not going to be taking positions on climate issues, on some of these things, when the people who are the absolute positive worst polluters are doing nothing, while China is doing nothing, while India is doing nothing, while Mexico is doing nothing. I mean, we're talking about the world's worst polluters aren't committing to anything. He's going to make sure that what we're doing makes sense, that it's good for the environment, but it's also good for the economy. I think that is a phenomenal pick right there. This next one, I got to be honest, I don't know how I feel about this one, because I like Elise Stefanik. I like the fact that she's unabashedly pro-Trump. But I don't know much else about her when it comes to whether or not she's actually qualified to be the United Nations ambassador. I mean, when I think of the UN ambassador, I think of Nikki Haley, I think of John Bolton, who both of which are kind of on Trump's bad side right now. But when it came to communicating American policy abroad and in the United Nations and standing up to the tyrants there, they were very good at it. Now, we've seen how Elise Stefanik can handle tyrants at colleges and universities. So maybe a lot of these intellectuals that represent some of these foreign countries, they're abroad, right. They may be from abroad, but they probably got educated at Harvard, at Yale, at Cambridge. Once again, some of these Ivy League institutions. Anyway, so it's going to be really interesting to see how she does that. Then you got Homeland Security Secretary pick is going to be Kristi Noem. Now, Kristi Noem is very interesting because, the funny part is that she's not from a border state, or she is, let me clarify, she is from a border state, but that border state, no, she's not from a border state. I'm sorry. I was about to say North Dakota, but she's from South Dakota. But she is very hawkish. And the number one job of the Homeland Security Secretary is going to be to protect the border and make sure that our border policies are in effect, right? To make sure that they are being implemented. And when you consider what we have right now, you know who I'm talking about. You know, the border is secure guy. You know that we could do a whole lot worse. Let's see, ambassador to Israel, we have Mike Huckabee. He was the governor of Arkansas from 1996 to 2007. He played a major diplomatic role in the heightened tensions in the Middle East. Huckabee has never held a diplomatic post previously, but has at times weighed in on both the war in Gaza, including, as he told News Nation, that he did not see a reason to support an Israel-Hamas ceasefire, and that the only way to end the war would be to eradicate the terrorist group. That's pretty much Trump's policy, right? I mean, let's just be real. If you want peace, the best way to have peace, and when I say peace, I mean the cessation of violence and cease of attacks, is to win the war. And that's the position that Trump has. I think both in Ukraine as well as in Israel. But anyway, in particular, in this particular case in Israel, he's like, look, end this war. When I say end it, he's not talking to Hamas. He's going to be talking to Netanyahu and saying, get it done. Get it done now. Let's see. Already mentioned Susie Wiles. We've got the deputy chief of staff is going to be Stephen Miller. I was on a radio show this morning and I was being interviewed, and sure enough, the person was like, are you comfortable having someone who's a white supremacist? I'm like, If you mean, am I comfortable having someone who believes that the responsibility of America's government is to Americans first? Yes, I'm very comfortable with that. If you mean, am I comfortable with the fact, or am I okay with the fact that the left-wing neo-Marxist media is going to label anybody who is white and has America's interests first, that you're going to label them as a white supremacist? I'm not necessarily comfortable with them doing that. But then again, they've already exposed the media I'm referring to. They've already exposed their bias. And here's the thing. It didn't work. Calling Republicans that you disagree with, calling them Nazis, calling them white supremacists, didn't work. So I have no idea why you think it would all of a sudden start to work now. But, you know, that's y'all. I'm gonna let y'all do that. And that's why they're also quite opposed to this gentleman, Mr. Tom Homan. Now, Tom Homan is the former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director. Homan was named Trump's border czar, tasked with cracking down on immigration and overseeing the southern border and the northern border and all maritime and aviation security, according to a statement by the president. Now, I don't know if that means he's going to get his old job back over there at ICE, or if they're going to create a whole new position. But if you want someone who's going to enforce our border, I think this is the guy you want doing it.
Mr. Holman, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy?
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommend a zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Oh, bam. See, that is someone who's not putting up with the nonsense of a child. And I'm sorry, AOC, or as Mike refers to her as Alex the bartender, is nothing more than an intellectual child compared to Homan. Now, no, I won't even call her an intellectual child, because the truth is he's not an intellectual, but he is a very smart man. He is someone who knows his job, and he knows the things surrounding his job, right? And he made it very clear. Hey, there are a bunch of recommendations that are here, that are in this thing. Parent separation is one of them. But why? And it's not even necessarily referred to as parent separation because, as noted, when someone gets arrested for a crime, their children don't go to jail with them. They aren't left out of jail so that they can go and hang out with their kids. That doesn't happen. Anyway, I just, that's the sort of no-nonsense guy you want to have. And, you know, he's made it very clear in interviews that he's done. Look, people are going to be deported. We're going to start with, and what I like is with the fervor which he's like, look, we're going to enforce our laws. We're going to get people who aren't supposed to be here out. Now, what that means is you've got someone who's more than willing to do their job, right? It's a lot easier to hold him back, right, diplomatically than it is to try and encourage him to get out there and do something, right? So in other words, he can say, look, your first mission is going to be to go after all those people who've entered the country illegally, all those people who are, what's I'm looking for, criminal aliens, meaning people who are criminals before they came here, and people who have committed crimes while they're here, right? Yeah, I have people saying, well, if they committed crimes, then they're probably in jail. No, they're not. There are people who are out, who have been let go, who have been accused of rape, who've been accused of assault, who've been accused of robbery in these blue cities and states. And what gets me is, I'm like, literally, this person is the one person, the interview I did earlier, I'm like, you're in the media and you're sitting up here lying about stuff. You're lying about this stuff. You are either ignorant, which means you really need to stop trying to inform people and you need to go inform yourself, or how about this? How about you take a moment and admit you're lying? I think that's part of it. I think that's a big part of it. But I think a lot of it is, even in the media, I think many of them, they don't know. And they don't know because they haven't tried to know. They don't know because they don't care to know. And that's that. And it's the whole left. I mean, their whole thing is smoke and mirrors. There's a reason why they have to call everybody racist. And this guy right here, yeah, they're going to call him a racist. They're going to say he's racist. He's a white supremacist and just wants to deport Mexicans. No, he wants to deport anyone who's come into this country illegally. Keep in mind, we have people come into the country from what? 80 different countries? Or 800, is 80 or 800? I don't even remember which one it is. Where's Mike? Where's Mike and the interns? Anyway, but people coming from all over the world are coming through our southern border. They're coming from all over the world, entering the country illegally through our southern border, and we have no real control over it. We have absolutely no real control over the people who are entering our country. And so now we're at a point where we're going to get control of that southern border. And by the way, a lot of what you're hearing, I want you to also know this is the thing that I've come to realize about Donald Trump. Oftentimes what happens, like whether it's tariffs, whether it's deportation, whether it's whatever the issue is, Donald Trump, his rhetoric is far, 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 far right. Because what winds up happening is that he comes out with that rhetoric, and it's the beginning of his negotiation. What happens is, and I had someone laugh at me when I said this, I said, what happens is a lot of people decide on the border issue will decide to self-deport. Because they're like, no. I'm like, they don't want to go to jail here. So they only really came here to work. So guess what? They're going to leave. You got a lot of criminals. Once they find out that the United States is not criminal friendly, business friendly for criminals anymore, they're going to self-deport. They're going to go someplace where they can commit their crimes in peace. That's the truth. Anyway, but you're going to find that a lot of times that's the opening ploy. And I think what will happen is you'll have the criminal aliens that will be gone. Then you'll have the people who recently entered the country. That'll be the next group of people. And I think by the time that's all said and done, by the time we've gotten those numbers way down, I think then you're going to start to look at some sort of a negotiation taking place where they're going to come up with a legal pathway to legal residency, a pathway to legal residency for some folks. Folks who are an asset to our country, folks who have opted to assimilate. I do not believe that they will be that the Trump will negotiate citizenship, but I think legal residency is within the realm of possibility for people who choose to be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I'm not psychic, so I could very easily be wrong. But I think so far his selections are really good. And by the way, he's pushing to try and do some recess appointments, meaning he wants these folks to take office like really, 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 really before Congress even takes office. And part of that is I think he just wants to hit the ground running. But the other issue is, if you recall, the Senate held up his appointments forever last time. When he got elected the first time, it was months, almost years before he was able to get people into key positions. I think he doesn't want to see that happen again. I think that if you get, and the problem is that if you don't do it, then you have to go through, if you don't address the issue of the filibuster, if you don't get rid of the filibuster for his appointments, you're going to see Democrats that are going to filibuster his appointments. And they're going to make it very difficult for him to be able to do his job, because that's what their goal now is. Their goal now is delay, obfuscate. Don't let him do his job. And I think that's why he's pushing for those recess appointments. I'll be honest, when I heard that this morning, because I honestly did not read the newspapers yesterday afternoon after the show. But yeah, I wasn't sure, because as I told the liberal left-wing host that I was on the show with, I told her, you've already said, and you've already shared a number of lies and disinformation. I don't know if I can believe it to be true. Anyway. Moving right along, did Kamala Harris pay for celebrity endorsements? Yeah, so you remember all those concerts with Lizzo, and you had Taylor Swift did an endorsement for her. You had Oprah Winfrey came out and did an endorsement for her, and actually did an interview for her. Well, as it turns out, Kamala, well, let's just say it wasn't all out of the kindness of their heart.
We learned two things about Kamala this election. She's good at raising money, and she's good at blowing it. But money can't buy you elections, especially when you spend it like she did. She raked in more than $1 billion and is somehow now in debt. The Washington Examiner dug through her financial statements and gave us a good clue why. Kamala's campaign was getting whacked like a piñata, while D.C. leeches hoovered up all the cash. She spent over $50 million on payroll. Trump's campaign spent less than 10. Another 12 million went to consultants, and 20 million went to their little concerts with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Christina Aguilera, John Bon Jovi, remember him? They even had to cancel a performance by Alanis Morissette because they were running low on cash. Isn't that ironic? Campaign insiders are mad at the bosses for wasting donor money on concerts instead of ads about, the economy. Quote, they said they were spending to zero. I guess they overshot zero. Ads would have gone a lot further than the pricey celebrity endorsements. One campaign source said people were concerned about their own financial issues, not Oprah telling them America won't exist. But it worked out nicely for Oprah. She got her friend Kamala to pay her $1 million to interview her in September. $1 million. Now, if she thought she was saving democracy, she should have done it for free. Kamala scared donors by calling Trump a dictator, got $1 billion, then just gave it to her friends, and blew the rest on being a diva. Kamala went on a podcast, remember Call Her Daddy? But she didn't want to go to their studio in LA. So she made the host fly to DC and used campaign cash to build a fake set in a hotel room. She spent more than $100,000 to build it. That set, see it? 2 chairs, a coffee table, and a bookshelf. That's 6 figures. Now, we looked at the set. We probably could have done it for around $6,000. That's without labor. But where'd the rest of the money go? We don't know. So she's still trying to soak folks for cash. 24 hours after the election, on Wednesday, Democrats got a text from the campaign. Urgent. We need help. Donate now. Help with what? You lost. This is how she's going to spend her donors' dollars. Imagine what she would have done with our taxes.
Yes, so a lot of this information is based on an article that came out. And by the way, Newsweek tried to be very balanced about this. They tried to say, well, did she pay celebrities? And the real reporting came from Breaking 911. Says, holy smokes, Kamala Harris's campaign wasted $20 million to buy endorsements of celebrities. $5 million to Megan Thee Stallion, $3 million to Lizzo, $1.8 million to Eminem, $1 million to Oprah. Paid 6 figures to appear on Call Her Daddy podcast. That's what that whole set was. Now, Oprah Winfrey has denied that she got paid to be there, but on the campaign disclosure, there's 2 separate payments on the same day, each for $500,000. There's also a claim that she paid Beyonce $10 million to endorse the vice president. Nonprofit fact-checking website, factcheck.org, which, by the way, anyone who knows factcheck.org knows that they are a liberal organization. They are a left-wing apologist group. They're saying that there's no evidence. Yeah, if you don't look, you're not going to find any evidence. It says here, Newsweek reached out to Harris' campaign for comment about emails outside of the regular work hours. Newsweek also reached out to representatives for other celebrities who endorse Harris and have been accused of being paid for it, including Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, Lizzo, Eminem, all via email. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, some of these news outlets, they'll reach out and they'll report what they're going to report. But the one thing we do know is this. One, we do know that she paid Harpo Entertainment $1 million. Now, if that was for the set and everything that was done, you know what? If this is an endorsement or if this was just an interview, there's no reason why you should have had to pay them to do that. Same thing with Call Your Daddy. There's no reason to write a $100,000 check to be on that podcast. Whatchamacallit, Joe Rogan didn't get anything from Donald Trump for having him and JD in. In fact, if she had gone, if Rogan had listened to her and gone to DC where she was, would she have paid to have his whole studio redone? Would she have kicked him down some cash? I doubt it. But I mean, what would have happened? Now, I'm just gonna throw this out there, and this is just kind of an aside. And I'm sure that I'm about to say something that many, if not most of you, agree with. She raised over $1 billion. She spent about $1.3 billion. She is in debt. She says 20 million. I'm guessing it's more. But she's in debt after raising and spending over $1 billion. And that's not including what any of the super PACs spent on her campaign. And yet she lost resoundingly. She lost every single swing state. She came she lost amongst Latino male voters. She almost lost Latino voters. She pretty much split Latino voters in total. She lost the popular vote. She lost 312 to like 220 electoral votes. It was a landslide victory. Republicans won the House and they won the Senate after being outspent something like 5-1. One would think that the left would get the clue that your plan isn't working. Referring to Republicans or people who support Donald Trump or support Republicans as Nazis didn't work. Referring to them as white supremacists didn't work. Calling them homophobic and hateful and fascist didn't work. The thing is, people were concerned. They were concerned about two main areas. Now, according to some of the stuff that I've heard, one of the most popular issues that people were concerned about, I don't know that it was high on their priority list, but a lot of people were concerned about it, is the whole gender identity issue, right? The fact that you have Democrats who, and it's not just about boys in girls' bathrooms or boys participating in girls' sports. That's a big one. But it's about the idea that they are trying to jam this down our throat and treat us like we're the ones coming up with something new. Like we're the ones who are changing the fabric of our culture and all the things that we define. Like we're the ones who are defying science. Like we're the ones who are sacrificing children at the altar of political correctness, allowing them to, without their parents' permission, take drugs and get surgeries that will alter their young bodies forever. People are not comfortable with that. And they know that if the left wins on that, there's a whole lot between that and what is reasonable that they will push, that they will go after. Once they've gaslit us on those things, or once they've been successful in gaslighting the American public on those things, you know they're going to come after us for the rest. And that's what people were not happy with. And the celebrities, yeah, they don't know. Oh, by the way, and the other thing was the economy. So you have these celebrities out there endorsing her who we already know they have sold out on the wokeness. They are all part of the cultural identity, the sexual identity, the racial identity politics. They're all bought into the neo-Marxism, partially because they're not the sharpest knives in the drawer when it comes to that stuff. All they know is it's popular. And so they want to be on the right side of popular because that's what they do. But they're not out going out spending. They're not doing their own grocery shopping, many of them. They're not out. Ain't no big deal to them because their overall budget is so high. They're not worried about that stuff.